Hey, all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss a little bit about Apache Hudi. Now Hudi, or Hudi, is an open source data, it's an open source data lake platform, put it that way. It brings databases and data warehouses capabilities to the data lake. Similar to what you're hearing about, like, Snowflake, Databricks, Redshift, Google Cloud, Google GCPs, BigQuery, Azure Synapse, etc. It basically, think about it this way: it reimagines like the slow, old school batch data processing, like MapReduce, more than anything else. Quite honestly, the MapReduce framework, and by adding it with a new sort of incremental processing framework for low latency, mid level analytics. Now, Hoodie's a great choice for a variety of use cases, including in certain cases like streaming ingestion, which is actually ideal in this situation. Hoodie can be used to ingest data from streaming sources such as Kafka, Kinesis, Flume, and Flume. This allows you to process real-time data, or data in real time at least, without having to wait for it to be batched. Another thing that's really good for, which Hoodie's built for basically, is incremental processing more than anything else. Hoodie can be used to process data incrementally, which means that you could sort of process the data that has changed since the last time you processed it. So think of it like sort of like a change data capture type of thing. This can save a lot of time and resources, especially if you have lots and lots of data. So put it this way: let's say you have data that's existing and it's already been processed, but you have a new incremental new data that's coming in. You don't want to process the entire data set over the entire aspect of those data that you've already processed over again. You just go against the ones that have come in and basically incrementally changed. At the same time, also, for those that have changed, let's say there were updates or some form of nature with that data. That's where that comes into play as well. So now, of course, the data lakes is definitely being used to build out data lakes more than anything else. But think of it more like delta lakes than data lakes, quite honestly. It's a cost-effective way to storage large amounts of data. Makes it easy to manage and query data in a data lake, similar to like what S3 is and like Azure Blob Storage in ways, without having to move it to like a traditional warehouse. So like basically you just throw data files right in there in whatever file format you have, and then basically you can read off of it in ways. A lot of the like now some of the biggest pros, I would say, is performance wise. I don't have the exact metrics just yet. I could in another video if you need that. I'll let you know about that. But it's definitely very fast for both streaming ingestion and incremental processing. Of course, as I said, scales very, very large data sets, of course, and hence a data lake. Flexibility is like, sort of where it can be used. It can be sort of, I don't want to say the be all end all type of thing, but it's more of a case where like you can configure to the point of like handle certain use cases that you have, or a lot of the use cases you may or may not have. And one of the biggest pro, of course, is definitely open source because it's part of the Apache program. So you can use it to modify the source code to what you need to do for your necessary needs, which Microsoft has done, which Azure has done. I mean, Microsoft, AWS, as well as GCP has done at this point. One of the biggest negatives I would say with Hudi is it's definitely complex to set up and use. I've tried it quite a number of times. It was not straightforward, unfortunately. The learning curve is very steep, put it that way. If you can't pick up very quickly, it's going to take quite a while then to understand it. And the other aspect is, I don't want to say it's not mature because it's still under development, but at least it's a little bit more stable than, let's say, Apache Iceberg. But compared to other data lake platforms, it's not as mature as that, though. It's a great choice for a variety of use cases. Definitely, as I mentioned, fast, scalable, and like it's open source. However, it can be complex to set up as one of the big things. Now the question is, should you use Apache Hudi? Now, that's something. It depends what your use cases are. I mean, if you're looking for a fast, scalable, and flexible data lake platform, then yeah, it's a great option. But however, if you're looking for a platform that's easy to use and set up, you might want to just go the whole cloud route with either AWS's data lake or Azure's ADLS basically. Those probably works out much more easy, and it's much more easier to set up at that point. The only thing is you're paying for it in that aspect as well too. Now there are some file formats that Hudi does support, really, which are more common. More than anything else, it supports Apache Parquet, the biggest one out there. Parquet is the de facto, that's becoming the de facto file format out there because it's a great columnar store. Also supports Apache Avro, and of course ORC2. One of the other things is Hudi's definitely used by a lot of companies like Airbnb, Uber, Spotify, Lyft, and Netflix. Another thing that you could say that with Hudi is basically, well, the streaming analytics part is, one of those things where fraud detection and customer personalization comes into play for that. Whereas the real-time analytics, market research, and customer support, perfect times in that situations. Definitely, like I said, it's one of the cases where it can replace certain data warehouses in that aspect, but that's something that, again, with the learning curve, it's going to be a little bit tricky to do it. Now, if you, like I said, one of the things is if you need a data lake that supports incremental processing with very low latency, Hudi works out perfectly well. One of the other aspects, though, is you got to remember is with Hudi itself, compared to, let's say, Delta Lake, it's something you have to support and set up, basically. Delta Lake, which is out of Databricks, not as much, basically. You don't have as much maintenance or setting up that you have to do versus on a Hudi platform. It's a great option, let's put it that way. I mean, I won't deny it that, Hudi can definitely be something that helps in the long term, but in the short term, if you need it up and running very quickly and to do something that's very straightforward and easy for you, I would say you'd have to wait a bit. I mean, honestly, you might just go the cloud route because, like I said, Uber is one of the biggest ones out there. From what I heard, I don't know. And of course, there's Tencent Cloud and their music entertainment group that supposedly is, as I mentioned. But it's a great transactional data lake platform. Like, put it this way, it's like I talked in one of my earlier videos about Apache Iceberg. There's also Delta Lake, which is from Databricks. I can talk about more of that if you need to, or this for that matter, or I could do a comparison between all three. But if you want me to go more in depth and detail with Apache Hudi, please leave in the comment section, and I will, I do read my comments, all my comments when I get notified, of course, and I do respond to them when they warrant a response. So if you want more detailed information, with data, I can certainly create it out there, or there's definitely other YouTube videos out there that also discuss this. One of the things is I'm not I would have put out some diagrammings on with me, but it's one of those things. I just wanted a quick high level overview video more than anything else. If you need more intricate, I don't want to say tutorial, but more intricate overview of this, or a little bit more deeper, please let me know and I'll gladly go into it. Or two, if you want, there's also the documentation that's on Hudi's, let's see, I'm looking. Yeah, hudi.apache.org basically. It's really good in that aspect. One of the things, of course, the other factor is it supports ACID. So because of their the incremental processing of data, it does do ACID transactions, and of course like with Iceberg and Delta Lakes, you can basically sort of have a change data capture moment. I gotta admit though, it's one of those great things that Oracle came out with. I think it was Oracle that came out with the change CDC at that time, and then this one is one of those things where everyone started adopting very quickly, and it was very easy to support at that point as well too. Other aspects, of course, of schemaless versus large schema evolutions and such, and enforcement of it. This works out in that situation as well too. But with that, I'll just leave it at that. If you do like this video and want more information, please let me know in the comment section, and I will create a video. Or two, there's probably going to create a video that goes a little bit more of a comparison between the three of Apache Hudi, Delta Lake, and Apache Iceberg. But with that, I'll leave it at that. If you like my videos, like my content, or like my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you don't like my channel, don't like my videos, but still want to watch them, I do ask if you can subscribe at least. That would be great too. With that, I just realized my microphone's all the way back there, and I didn't realize that, so it might be a little bit hard for me to hear. I got to see. Yeah, you know what, screw it, I'll just go. I treat my videos as such, basically, so I don't really edit them or something like that. But again, if you do need me to go a little bit more in depth and detail on Apache Hudi, or a comparison between Hudi versus Iceberg, or Hudi, Iceberg, and Delta Lake, please let me know. I'll gladly put it out there. I'll create a video, a much more intricate video. Might take me a bit. It might be even more longer, unfortunately, because of the three, between the three, and it's not going to be high level. If it's going to be more deeper, then I'll need to create, I'll need some time to, generate that video at that point. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and of course, definitely unrehearsed. Until next time.